As AI quickly has an impact in all parts of our work and home life, regulation, as mentioned in Brent's package there, is absolutely vital. Joining me live is Qlik Chief Executive Mike Capone from the United States. Mike, you've just seen that story. How important is regulation?
I did just see that story, Tim, and regulation is very important. The technology is advancing so quickly. AI has the ability to be transformative and generate a lot of societal good. However, we, first as human beings, as executives and businesses, and then as governments, we need to keep pace, and we need to have regulations that do things like watermarking, that do things like white labeling information, so you understand how that information was generated, what was the source, and how did you draw those conclusions, if we're going to ever get society to be able to put trust in AI-generated information.
It is in every facet of our life now, and it's moving very quickly.
It is, and I think history is full of examples where technology is going to outpace the regulatory environment, is going to outpace government's ability to, regulate it in a timely fashion. And what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on industry to make sure that we are partnering with the public sector to do the right things, to create ethical frameworks for the deployment of AI. And I do think governments have an even more awesome responsibility, because let's face it, you can choose who you do business with and how those companies deploy AI, but most people can't choose the government that they do business with. So we have to build that trust in the public sector with our citizens.
What about this story with Joe Biden? It's one of so many. The election isn't till November. We're going to see a lot of it.
We are, and we have to be especially vigilant right now as the technologies to uncover deepfakes are still emerging. But that's where industry needs to really step up. In addition to things like watermarking, we have to be able to deploy technologies that can actually sort out these deepfakes and very quickly take action to make sure that they're not influencing things unduly.
So hard to tell the difference, isn't it? Honestly, like you need to be a professional lip reader sometimes, particularly when you see things pop up on social media.
It is, and as human beings, we have to now have a healthy sense of skepticism about what we're consuming. We should all come to social media with an eye towards questioning everything we see, because the reality is the technology has actually been available for a while, as was pointed out. What is true now, though, is it's so readily available. You can see these things just popping up everywhere.
But as a positive, AI is a huge catalyst for work in sustainability, data integrity.
Yeah, well, I was super encouraged by what was coming out of Davos, right? Those are the right conversations to have. The societal transformation that AI is going to enable, advances in things like healthcare, they're going to transform society. And we're starting to have the right conversations in terms of how do we govern it? How do we make sure we deploy these ethical frameworks around it? And then more importantly, how do we make sure that nobody's left behind? We saw what happened with the internet in the early days, how it became a series of have and have nots in terms of countries and industries. We need to make sure with AI that we're balanced and that AI lifts all of society simultaneously in an ethical and honest fashion.
Can AI help in those parts of the world which are struggling? Not like, we all live in, the first world, things are at the touch of a finger. Can AI be helpful in the third world?
It absolutely can. My company, for example, works with disaster relief organizations like Direct Relief, to actually predict the output of natural disasters, the outcomes, stage relief supplies in advance, and actually make these natural disasters more manageable. And that's just a small sample of what AI can do. So yes, it can help every corner of the world if it's employed effectively and fairly, across the planet.
Finally, look, some of these views are extremist, but there are those on the edges that are concerned that AI will eventually destroy us. What do you think of those thoughts?
Yeah, that's the Skynet argument, right? From Terminator. I don't believe that, and most of my peers CEOs of tech companies don't believe that. What it can do is they're not going to take over the world. They're not going to destroy the world, but AI, bots, etc. But it can erode trust, and it can create schisms in society that just are not good. And again, that's why we have to act early and we have to act forcefully to create ethical frameworks and to make sure that we're deploying this technology in a very thoughtful way.
Been fantastic having you on the program, Mike. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Tim. Thank you.